Most men try to make a woman miss them by doing the exact thing that makes them easier to forget. They beg for another chance. They chase when she becomes distant. They explain their feelings again and again, hoping one perfect message will finally open her eyes. They remind her of the good moments, ask why she changed, ask what went wrong, and try to prove that they are different from every other man. But the painful truth is this: the more you beg to be remembered, the more you show that you are afraid of being forgotten. And fear does not create attraction. Fear creates pressure. Pressure makes her pull away. And the more she pulls away, the more desperate you become until the whole connection becomes a place where your dignity slowly disappears. If you want her to miss you, you must understand something most men never learn. Missing does not happen because you explain your worth. Missing happens when your presence had value and your absence finally gives her space to feel it. She cannot miss your energy if you keep forcing it into her life. She cannot miss your attention if you keep giving it away for free. She cannot wonder about you if every emotion you feel is delivered to her in a long paragraph. A woman begins to miss you when she realizes the man who once cared deeply is no longer standing there begging to be seen. He is still calm. He is still respectful, but his energy is no longer available to a situation that does not respect him. This is not about playing games, becoming cruel, or trying to punish her with silence. That kind of behavior only reveals pain. The real power is cleaner than that. You stop chasing because your self respect has returned. You stop begging because you finally understand that love cannot be negotiated from someone who is choosing distance. You stop explaining because the right woman does not need you to destroy your dignity, just to understand your value. Your silence becomes powerful when it comes from peace, not anger. Your distance becomes attractive when it comes from direction, not revenge. Your absence becomes unforgettable when it is attached to a man who kept moving instead of collapsing. In this video, you are going to learn how to make her miss you without begging, chasing, or explaining. You will learn why pressure kills attraction, why clean silence creates curiosity, why your life must become bigger than her response, and why the strongest move is not convincing her to feel something again. It is becoming the man whose absence makes her realize your presence was never ordinary. Before we start, understand this: the community was not built just to take your money. It was built for men who are serious about becoming stronger, calmer, more disciplined, and more respected in real life. If you only want entertainment, YouTube is enough. But if you want real transformation, deeper lessons, attraction, emotional control, confidence, and the psychology of power, then step inside. This is your decision, your growth, your future. Nobody can force you to become another version of yourself. You either keep watching from the outside or you join the brotherhood and start building the man you were meant to become. You enroll once and get lifetime access forever, including future courses, books, lessons, and upgrades. No subscriptions, no monthly payments, no limits. If you are serious, click the link below. Join the community. Enroll once, grow forever. Now let's dive in. Section 1: remove the pressure that makes her pull away. The first step to making her miss you without begging, chasing, or explaining is to remove the pressure. This is where most men fail because they believe pressure is proof of love. They think if they keep texting, keep asking, keep explaining, keep checking, and keep showing how much they care, she will finally understand. But a woman does not miss the man who keeps pushing himself into her emotional space. She misses the man whose presence once felt valuable and whose absence now gives her room to feel the difference. When you keep applying pressure, you do not create longing. You create resistance. You make her feel like your emotions are something she has to manage instead of something she wants to move toward. Pressure can look innocent. It can sound like, I just want to talk. It can sound like, can you explain what changed? It can sound like, I miss how we used to be. And maybe your words are honest, but honesty without emotional control can still feel heavy. If she is already distant, every extra message can feel like a demand. Every explanation can feel like you are trying to pull an emotion out of her before it is ready. Every attempt to fix things can make her feel less curious and more cornered. That is why begging and chasing do not make her miss you. They make her feel that you are still emotionally standing too close. The powerful move is to step back before you lose your dignity, not with anger, not with a dramatic goodbye, not with a cold performance, just calm distance. You stop trying to make her feel what she is not showing. You stop forcing conversations that keep dying. You stop giving your energy to silence, dry replies, mixed signals, and low effort. When you remove pressure, you create space. And space is where curiosity can breathe. She may start wondering why you are not pushing anymore. She may notice that the emotional noise has disappeared. She may feel the absence of the man who used to try too hard to keep things alive. But this must be real. Do not remove pressure only to secretly wait for her to panic. Remove it because your energy deserves respect. Remove it because chasing someone who is pulling away only teaches them that distance gives them power over you. Remove it because attraction cannot grow inside emotional pressure. It needs freedom, contrast, and calm. When you stop pressing, you stop looking like a man begging for her attention and start becoming the man whose absence carries weight. That is the first moment she may begin to miss you, not because you forced it, but because you finally gave her enough space to feel what you used to bring. Section 2, let your absence become clean, not bitter. The second step to making her miss you is to let your absence become clean, not bitter. This is important because many men disappear, but their disappearance still smells like pain. They stop texting, but they post indirect quotes. They stop calling, but they keep watching her stories. They say they are done, but every move they make is secretly designed for her to notice. That is not absence. That is emotional noise wearing a mask. And when a woman feels that your silence is only a tactic to make her react, she does not feel your power. She feels your wound. Clean absence is different. Clean absence does not beg to be seen. It does not announce itself. It does not try to punish her. It simply removes your energy from a place where it is not being respected. You do not insult her. You do not explain your silence. You do not post things to prove you are fine. You do not act cold just to make her feel guilty. You step back with dignity and let your life continue. That kind of silence is powerful because it does not look like revenge. It looks like self respect. A woman can dismiss angry silence easily. She can tell herself, he is just hurt, or he is trying to make me jealous, or he is acting childish. But clean silence is harder to dismiss because it gives her nothing ugly to fight against. You are not attacking her. You are not chasing her. You are not asking for pity. You are simply no longer giving your full presence to someone who is not meeting you with real effort. That creates a different kind of tension. It makes her feel the space without being able to blame your behavior. This is where missing can begin, not because you forced her to feel something, but because your absence becomes mature enough to be respected. She may remember your warmth. She may remember your patience. She may remember how easy it was to receive your attention. Then she notices that the same access is no longer there. And because you did not ruin the silence with bitterness, the memory of you stays cleaner in her mind. So if you want her to miss you, do not disappear like a wounded boy. Step back like a man who finally remembered his value. Let your absence say, I wish you well, but I will not keep placing my energy where it is not chosen. That kind of silence does not chase, it does not explain. It simply creates a gap where your presence used to be. And sometimes that gap speaks louder than any message you could send. Section 3. Stop explaining what your absence should make her feel. The third step to making her miss you without begging. Chasing or explaining is to stop explaining what your absence should make her feel. This is where many men weaken their own silence. They pull back for a little while, but then they want to send a message saying, "You'll realize what you lost," or "I was always good to you," or "One day you'll miss me." But the moment you explain the lesson, you remove the power of the lesson. A woman does not miss you because you told her she should. She misses you when her own mind starts comparing your absence with the value of your presence. Explaining your worth after stepping back makes you look like you are still asking to be understood. It says, "Please see my value. Please feel my absence. Please understand what I gave you." And even if the words are true, they carry the wrong energy. They make your silence look unfinished. They show that you are still emotionally standing near the door, waiting for her to open it and say she finally understands. But a man with self respect does not beg someone to understand the silence. He lets the silence do its work. The strongest absence does not come with subtitles. You do not need to tell her why you are moving differently. You do not need to explain why your energy changed. You do not need to write a long message about how much you cared and how badly she treated your effort. If she is mature, she will feel the shift. If she values you, she will notice the difference. If she does not, your explanation would not have saved the connection anyway. That is why silence must be trusted, not as a game, but as a boundary. This does not mean you become rude or unclear when clarity is needed. If there is a real conversation, you can speak calmly, but do not turn your absence into a speech. Do not chase her with explanations after deciding to step back. Let your behavior become consistent enough that she understands without you begging her to understand. Your reduced access, your calmer replies, your focus on your life, and your emotional control will say more than a desperate paragraph ever could, because the moment you stop explaining your absence, it becomes heavier. She starts wondering instead of defending. She starts feeling instead of arguing. She starts comparing instead of being pressured. And that is where missing can begin, inside her own thoughts, not inside the words you forced into her phone. Section 4. Become busy with a life she cannot easily enter. The fourth step to making her miss you without begging, chasing, or explaining is to become busy with a life she cannot easily enter. This does not mean acting busy while secretly waiting for her to notice. It does not mean posting fake happiness, forcing yourself into places just to be seen, or pretending you are unbothered while your whole mind is still trapped inside her reaction. That kind of busyness is weak because it is still built around her. Real busyness is different. Real busyness happens when your life becomes full again, not because you are trying to make her jealous, but because you finally stopped making her attention the center of your emotional world. A woman begins to miss you differently when she feels that your energy has direction. If your days are empty and your whole mood depends on whether she replies, then your absence has no weight. It only looks like waiting. But when your life is moving, when your time is filled with work, discipline, training, goals, friends, learning, money, purpose, and self respect, your absence becomes believable. She does not feel a man pretending to be unavailable. She feels a man whose world is no longer open on demand, and that creates a deeper kind of curiosity because she can no longer read you through desperation. Most men think the goal is to make her wonder what they are doing, but the real goal is to become the kind of man whose life is actually worth wondering about. Do not make your life mysterious by hiding everything. Make it mysterious by building something real. Improve quietly, move differently, stop explaining every change, stop giving emotional reports, stop letting her know every thought, every feeling, every plan, and every wound. A man who is too emotionally open to someone who is not choosing him becomes easy to understand and easier to take for granted. A man who has a real life outside her attention becomes harder to control. This is where she starts feeling the shift. She may notice you are not as available. She may notice your replies are calmer. She may notice your energy is not chasing. She may wonder why your life feels more private, why your attention is not rushing back, why you no longer seem emotionally hungry for her response. But do not build your life for that reaction. Build it because you need to become whole again. Build it because a man without purpose becomes too easy to break in love. Build it because the woman who misses you should miss a man who is growing, not a man who is sitting still, hoping silence works like a trick. Because the most powerful absence is not empty space. It is the space left behind by a man who is moving somewhere meaningful without begging anyone to follow. Section 5. Make her miss the feeling, not the conversation. The fifth step to making her miss you without begging, chasing, or explaining is to make her miss the feeling, not just the conversation. This is where many men misunderstand what a woman actually misses. They think she misses the texts, the calls, the compliments, the jokes, or the daily attention. Sometimes she does, but those things are easy to replace. Another man can text her. Another man can compliment her. Another man can keep her entertained for a moment. But what is harder to replace is the feeling she had around you when your presence was calm, warm, confident, and different from everyone else. That is what stays in her mind longer than any message. If every interaction with you was full of pressure, insecurity, questions, jealousy, or emotional need, then your absence may not make her miss you at first. It may make her feel relief. That is why you must become aware of the emotional signature you leave behind. A woman misses the man who made her feel seen without being trapped, desired without being chased, safe without being bored, and curious without being confused. She misses the man whose energy gave her peace and tension at the same time. She misses the man who made her feel something rare, then had enough self respect to walk away when the energy was no longer mutual. So your goal is not to keep reminding her of the conversations you had. Your goal is to become the kind of man whose presence leaves a deeper emotional memory. When you speak, speak with calm. When you listen, listen with presence. When you give attention, give it with purpose. When you pull back with dignity. Do not make her remember you as the man who begged for another reply. Make her remember you as the man who brought a feeling she could not easily find again. This is why explaining too much weakens your absence. When you keep telling her what you meant, what you felt, what you gave, and what she should remember, you turn the memory into pressure. But when you step back cleanly, the memory works on its own. She may later remember how you made her laugh without trying too hard. She may remember your patience. She may remember your calm voice. She may remember how different your energy felt compared to men who only wanted attention from her. Because messages can be deleted, conversations can fade, and compliments can be replaced. But the feeling of being around a man with calm strength, emotional control, and self respect is much harder to forget. That is the feeling she must miss. Section 6. Let her wonder what changed without giving her the answer. The sixth step to making her miss you without begging, chasing, or explaining is to let her wonder what changed without giving her the answer too quickly. This is one of the most powerful psychological shifts because when a woman is used to understanding your emotions, your patterns, your reactions, and your availability, she becomes comfortable predicting you. She knows when you will text. She knows when you will explain. She knows when you will try to fix the silence. She knows when her distance will pull more effort out of you. But when you suddenly stop reacting in the old way, when your energy becomes calmer, more private, and harder to read, her mind begins to search for the reason. And the reason becomes more powerful when it comes from her curiosity, not from your explanation. Most men ruin this moment because they cannot tolerate being misunderstood. The moment she notices they are different, they want to explain everything. They say, I'm just focusing on myself now, or I'm not going to chase anymore, or you made me realize I deserve better. But even when those words are true, they often make your transformation feel like a reaction to her. They show that you still need her to understand the new version of you. A stronger man does not rush to explain his change. He lets his behavior become the proof. He lets his calmer replies, quieter presence, stronger routine, improved life, and emotional control reveal that something inside him has shifted. This creates mystery without manipulation. She starts wondering why you are not pushing anymore. She starts wondering why your attention no longer feels automatic. She starts wondering why you seem peaceful instead of hurt, focused instead of needy, distant without being bitter. And that wondering can become powerful because it forces her to compare the old version of you with the new one. The old version was easy to read. The new version has depth. The old version explained every feeling. The new version protects his inner world. The old version wanted her to understand his pain. The new version no longer needs her to witness his healing. But this only works if the change is real. Do not act mysterious while secretly waiting for her to decode you. Do not become cold just to create anxiety. Do not use silence as a costume. Let your life actually become different. Let your discipline become stronger. Let your emotional reactions become slower. Let your standards become clearer. Then, when she wonders what changed, the answer will not be something you say, it will be something she feels because the woman who starts missing you is often not missing the man who explained everything. She is missing the man she thought she understood until he became too grounded to be controlled by her silence. Section 7. Do not reward her return with the old version of you. The seventh step to making her miss you without begging, chasing, or explaining is to understand what to do if she finally comes back. This is where many men destroy everything they built. They stop chasing for a while. They create clean distance. They become calmer. They make her wonder what changed. And then the moment she sends one small message, they collapse back into the old version of themselves. She says, hey. And suddenly he replies too fast. She asks, how have you been? And suddenly he gives her the whole emotional story. She shows a little warmth, and suddenly he forgets the silence, the confusion, the low effort, and the distance that made him step back in the first place. In that moment, she learns that his absence was not self respect, it was waiting. If you want her to truly miss you, she must feel that your absence changed your access, not just your timing. When she returns, your job is not to punish her, but it is also not to celebrate too quickly. A calm man welcomes real effort, but he does not reward small signals with full emotional availability. If she comes back with curiosity, observe. If she comes back with warmth, stay balanced. If she comes back with clarity, listen. But if she comes back casually, acting like nothing happened, giving just enough attention to see if you are still there, then do not hand her the old version of your energy immediately. The man she returns to must not be the same man she left behind. This does not mean you become cold, rude, or arrogant. It means you respond from self respect, not emotional hunger. You can be polite without being wide open. You can be calm without being distant in a childish way. You can speak without explaining everything you felt. Your energy should quietly say, I am not angry, but access to me is different now. That difference is what makes her feel the weight of your absence. She realizes that your warmth still exists, but it is no longer free for confusion. Your attention still exists, but it is no longer automatic. Your care may still be there, but it is no longer stronger than your standards. The real test is not whether she comes back. The real test is whether you stay grounded when she does. Because if her return makes you abandon your standards, then you are never truly leading yourself. You were only waiting for permission to become available again. But if she returns and meets a man who is calmer, harder to read, more focused, and no longer desperate to explain his value, then the dynamic changes. She does not just miss the old comfort. She starts respecting the new man because the man who makes her miss him is not the man who disappears, then runs back the moment she knocks. It is the man who steps away, becomes stronger, and lets her understand that coming back does not automatically mean coming close. At the end, the real secret to making her miss you without begging, chasing, or explaining is understanding that you cannot force someone to feel your value while you are standing there trying to prove it. The more you beg, the more your pain becomes visible. The more you chase, the more your attention becomes too easy to reach. The more you explain, the more it sounds like you are asking her to validate what you should already know about yourself. And that is why most men lose power when a woman pulls away. They think the answer is more effort, but sometimes more effort only teaches her that she can give less and still control your emotional world. A woman begins to miss you when your presence once had meaning, and your absence finally gives her space to feel it. She misses the calm you brought when your calm is no longer available. She misses the attention you gave when it is no longer automatic. She misses the feeling of your energy when your life no longer keeps turning toward her silence. But she cannot miss what you keep forcing into her hands. She cannot wonder about the man who keeps explaining every emotion. She cannot feel the weight of your absence if your presence is still waiting at the door, hoping she opens it. So remove the pressure. Let your absence become clean, not bitter. Stop explaining what your silence is supposed to mean. Become busy with a life she cannot easily enter. Make her miss the feeling, not just the conversation. Let her wonder what changed without giving her the answer too quickly. And if she returns, do not reward her with the old version of you. Let her meet the man who changed during the silence, not the man who was secretly waiting to be chosen again. This is not about punishing her. It is about protecting yourself. It is not about making her suffer. It is about no longer suffering just because she became uncertain. It is not about pretending you do not care. It is about caring without abandoning your dignity. That is the difference between silence from weakness and silence from self respect. Weak silence waits for a reaction. Strong silence rebuilds the man behind it because the truth is simple. The man she misses is not the man who begs to be remembered. It is the man whose absence feels peaceful, controlled, and impossible to replace. It is the man who can walk away without hatred, stay calm without pretending, and build a life so strong that his silence becomes more powerful than any explanation. And when she finally notices the space where your energy used to be, she will not feel a man trying to manipulate her. She will feel a man who no longer needs to chase to be valuable. So do not beg, do not chase, do not explain your worth to someone who already felt it and still chose distance. Step back with dignity. Let your life move forward. Let your calm become your message. Let your absence become the mirror. And remember this: Sometimes the most powerful way to make her miss you is to stop trying to make her miss you at